Welcome to the Community Air Protection Program online training series. This training provides an overview of the Community Air Protection Program. We'll start with some background information on community air quality and how we control air pollution. We'll then cover an overview of Assembly Bill 617, usually called AB 617, and the Community Air Protection Program. We'll also talk about key milestones and ongoing efforts. Let's get started. Before we dive into California's efforts to improve air quality and public health, let's talk about how air pollution can lead to health impacts. First, sources of air pollution, like trucks, cars, and industry, release air pollution into the atmosphere. That pollution gets mixed around in the air, and we wind up with different levels of air pollution. Breathing in this pollution can lead to health impacts. Where you live, how much air pollution there is, and individual vulnerability can all influence how much you may be impacted. There are several air quality agencies involved in controlling air pollution. At the federal level, the United States Environmental Protection Agency sets national standards and regulates trains, ships, and planes. Here in California, we have our state agency, the California Air Resources Board, which regulates what are known as mobile sources, things like cars, trucks, and buses. Finally, California also has 35 local air districts which regulate what are known as stationary sources of pollution, like refineries, and local sources like residential wood stoves and dust. We all have our own areas we're responsible for, and we work together to address all sources of air pollution. We've made significant progress reducing air pollution at the state and regional levels, but despite this progress, there are still communities with levels of air pollution that are too high. In your community, you may be exposed to a variety of emission sources, from a nearby highway, oil and gas operations, warehouses, or rail yards. All of these emissions combined can mean that levels of air pollution are too high. This is what we call cumulative exposure. In many communities, emission sources are also too close to where people live, work, and play. So how do we address cumulative exposure? In 2017, the California legislature passed AB 617 to do just that, improve air quality at the community level through partnering with community members. To benefit communities statewide, there are new emission reduction strategies, like regulations to limit emissions and funding for cleaner technologies. AB 617 calls for a suite of new databases and enhanced emission reporting requirements to support these emission reduction efforts. In individual communities, community members and air districts are developing local action plans to find ways to reduce air pollution. These are known as community emissions reduction programs. And there are new local efforts to measure exposure to air pollution, known as community air monitoring. These elements combined are designed to bring cleaner air to heavily impacted communities in California. CARB established the Community Air Protection Program to implement and oversee the various components of AB 617. When it comes to this new effort, everyone has a role to play, including CARB, communities, and local air districts. At the state level, CARB is responsible for new statewide strategies, establishing program requirements, program oversight, and issuing grants to community groups to participate in the process. Communities are at the core of the program and have several key responsibilities. Community members provide direction to CARB and the air districts on those community concerns and how we should structure our program to respond to those concerns. Community members also partner with air districts on community air monitoring and emission reduction programs. Air districts partner with communities on developing local air monitoring and emission reduction programs. To reduce emissions, the air districts provide incentive funding for cleaner technologies and are developing new rules to control pollution. Air districts are also responsible for engaging with local agencies like cities and counties, local health departments, and transportation agencies to work together to reduce exposure. Ongoing collaboration makes all the difference for designing and implementing these community-scale efforts. And for every aspect of the program, public engagement with all stakeholders, including workshops, community meetings, one-on-one discussions, and more, ensures that everyone's voice is taken into account. There were two major milestones for the Community Air Protection Program in 2018. First, the CARB board approved the Community Air Protection Blueprint, which includes new statewide strategies and establishes program requirements. Second, our board selected an initial set of 10 communities across the state for community emissions reduction programs, community air monitoring, or both. As we develop this program, there are a variety of ongoing efforts. Communities are actively engaged in developing and implementing community-focused plans. We are always working to identify new strategies that could benefit communities statewide. Development of new tools and resources is underway, and you can always check our website for the latest updates. A key component of the Community Air Protection Program is active community participation, and we are always looking for opportunities to help build local expertise and skills and support community engagement in the program. As the program continues, we'll have regular progress reviews and updates to the board to highlight best practices and lessons learned. Finally, our board will consider the selection of additional communities on an annual basis. Thank you for watching this training on the Community Air Protection Program. For more information, visit our website.